Hey, what's up? I'm Noot and welcome to Nootritious. Today we're making shepherd's pie. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, I wanted to make a beautiful, hearty main dish that belongs in the center of the table. Wikipedia states that shepherd's pie's key ingredients are red meat, onions, and mashed potatoes. But here at Nootritious, I say we live on the wild side and ditch that red meat and make a plant-based shepherd's pie. Nootritious. I absolutely love this recipe for plant-based shepherd's pie. It's as delicious as it is beautiful and can really hold its own as the main dish in the center of your table. The protein we're using is seitan, and if you want to learn how to make seitan yourself, check out my other recipe with the link below. You can buy store-bought seitan, but I promise it will not be as good as the one you make yourself. There's tons of steps to this recipe, so you might want to check out the written recipe on my website and my Amazon storefront to make your shopping easier. So, please don't forget to subscribe. Enough talking, let's dive in to plant-based shepherd's pie. Here are the veggies and herbs. I used to grate carrots in the restaurant, so I'm very fast at it. I think they call this small dice, maybe. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. Chop up the carrots. Parsnips are delicious, but I always grate them no matter how I end up cooking them. Cutting off the ends, cutting them in half. Same as the carrot, to little bite-sized rings on the smaller part of the parsnip, and then the larger part, making it even with the other pieces. Dicing up an onion. Cut off that end. Push your hand flat on top, get low so you can see what you're doing. Make slices into the onion, but don't go all the way through. Cutting down the same thing, pinching it together, get above it, and cut down. Oh, whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. Let's get these potatoes peeled and prepped and boiling in our 6 cups of water. We're mashing the potato up so it doesn't have to be beautiful, but try to cut them up the same size so they cook evenly. And then place them in some water with a little lemon so they don't oxidize, which means they don't turn a little brown and fugly. Dicing up the garlic. Just like the onion, we're gonna cut into it, not going all the way through, cut down on it, squeeze it together with my fingers, put my finger on the knife to guide it, and dice. Little dicey dooskies. Here are the ingredients. We have 6 little carrots, Yukon Gold potatoes, 1 parsnip, 1 cup of peas, 1 onion, seitan, a tablespoon of thyme, and topping it off with some parsley. 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, 2 teaspoons of tamari, half a teaspoon of mustard, 3 tablespoons of almond milk, 1 cup of vegetable broth, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of red wine, and 1 teaspoon of arrowroot. Arrowroot is a fantastic thickening agent for sauce. It has no taste, it doesn't change the color of the sauce, and it's a lot less processed than cornstarch. So mix 1 teaspoon of arrowroot into 3 tablespoons of water to create an arrowroot slurry. I made this stock with the seitan recipe. You can find it in the link below. Let's reduce 1 cup of stock down to half a cup. And if you don't know what that means, it's just a fancy way of saying boil it down. What's gonna happen is the stock is going to turn into steam and evaporate, reducing the quantity of stock, and it's gonna create this intensely flavored, delicious liquid. Reduction, nutritious style. Let's boil it. So now we're gonna thicken the reduced stock by adding the arrowroot slurry. And we're gonna simmer that for a few more minutes until it thickens right up. On a medium heat, I'm gonna pour in 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna start with the onions, cook those down for a little bit. Add the carrots, add the parsnip, 2 teaspoons fresh thyme. They taught me this trick in culinary school because burnt garlic is the worst. You can never go back from burnt garlic. So you don't ever want to start with garlic in the pan. It's better to get the vegetables going and then make a little room for the garlic, pour it in. That way you can sort of keep an eye on it. Some pepper, a pinch of salt. Let that heat up on its own before you mix it in with the rest of the veggies. And 1 cup of peas. Tablespoons of water to deglaze the pan, which is just a way to concentrate the flavor more as the water evaporates and pulls all the flavors together. Mix together the tamari, sesame oil, and mustard, and pour the tamari mix into the veggies. A little hectic. I have a few burners going. I have the sauce reducing. I have the veggies sauteing, and while that's happening, I'm gonna brown the seitan by pouring 2 tablespoons of olive oil and sauteing that. Pour in our red wine and let that cook down for a few minutes. And now it's time to mix everything together and put it in the oven. I'm using a cast iron to cook with, that way I can put it in the oven. But if you don't have a cast iron, just put everything into a baking pan or pie dish that's oven safe. Pour in that reduced sauce. It's gonna be like a gravy to tie it all together. I wanna get these mashed potatoes really smooth because I'm gonna put them in a piping bag and make a beautiful design on top of the shepherd's pie. Almost like a cupcake. I'm gonna add a little bit more nut milk to smooth it out, some pepper and some salt. If you don't have a piping bag, that's fine. If you don't wanna use it, you can just smooth the mashed potatoes out, make a little design with your fork, pop it in the oven. But if you do want to use it and you don't have one, you can get it for like $6 on my Amazon storefront. And it's really fun and a lot easier than it looks. Right, you're gonna take the piping bag and cut the tip off, but don't cut too far because you can always go back and cut more. Drop the tip down into the piping bag. Hold the bag over your hand like this, and then take a spatula and using just a little bit at a time, stuff it in the bag, pinch it with your fingers and pull it out clean so you don't waste any and you don't make a mess. Like that. Now you don't want the piping bag to be too full. It's easier to control when there's less stuff in it. Let's do some practice runs. So the beginner's mistake is to squeeze it like that, but that way you lose tension in the bag and it's harder to control. You actually control it by twisting it and keeping the tension on the top. So let's do some practice ones. Or you can do the zigzag. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with the little rose. I'm gonna start around the edge, working my way to the center. And when I start to feel slack in the bag, I don't squeeze, I twist. And then using this hand, not to squeeze, but to guide it. And the final touch, I'm gonna do one in the center. Okay, pop this in a preheated oven at 350 for 10 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You want it to get all gold and crispy on the top. I can't wait. Hearty, delicious shepherd's pie. Let's dig in. Wow, this is actually really good. I can't believe how good this is. Like, you really can't even tell that it's plant-based. Like, I wouldn't know if I ate this. Like, it really looks and tastes like meat. It's kind of crazy. Like, it's so delicious. And it's so flavorful. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. Wow. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next episode on Nootritious. Please subscribe. Happy Thanksgiving.